If you have never heard, if you aren't familiar with this tool, we would love to talk to you about it more, especially if you are someone who writes grants and has to do data management planning documents. If you're an admin or if you're a scientist, just let us know if you would like to know more about that and we can talk to you more. We also help people access the science data sets that are both stored online on our servers and WHOIs, as well as paper and archival data that we have in the data library. So anything that you need to access data at WHOI or MBL or in Woods Hole in general, we're your people. So we have a contact slide right after this, but I promise if you email anyone, you will get to us. So don't worry, just contact the library if you have data needs, okay? So I think that is everything. So I'm gonna hand off to Matt now, who's gonna talk about open access.
Thank you, Audrey. Good morning, everyone. This is Matthew Person. I manage our electronic subscriptions. I have information today which can save you an average of $1,500 or through about $3,000 you might otherwise consider spending out of your funds for article processing charges and publishing your articles in an open access journal or a journal which offers an open access publishing option. And we also would have an agreement with the publisher, an open access agreement. As you know, article processing charges are charged to authors of research articles during the publication process to make paywalled content openly accessible and to allow you to retain copyright of your work. When librarians look at the subscription fees their institutions pay to journals and the number of articles which local authors pay article processing charges to publishers to make their work open access, it can be a matter of concern for institutions if many papers are published open access and the amount of money moving from the institution to a publisher in article processing charges and subscription fees added together can be quite substantial. While large universities and university consortiums have agreements with large commercial publishers for the researchers to publish open access without charge to the researcher, most large publishers have not scaled down these agreements for smaller libraries like we are. We look towards smaller nonprofit publishers which have scaled down programs that can reduce and eliminate the duplication of library and author financial resources. And here are a number of examples. So we have what's called a read and publish agreement with the Company of Biologists, which produces the Journal of Experimental Biology. And this article by Lydia Mathker, who's no longer at MBL, but was at MBL when she did her research, is the first article that from the Woods Hole community in journals of the Company of Biologists that was published open access without having to pay an article processing fee. As I said, Lydia is the lead author of this article. She was able to take advantage of the read and publish agreement between our library and the Company of Biologists, which means the library pays our annual fee, which used to be our subscription fee, and it's the same that we paid for the subscription to all of their journals. And in exchange for that, the lead authors of papers from the Woods Hole institutions can publish open access articles for free of article processing fees. And Woods Hole Library users have reading access to all of the Company of Biologists published content, which are these 5 journals. And basically the read and publish agreement, it allows in reading, it allows unlimited access to all current and available content. Back to 1853, that's the Company of Biologists. And in terms of publishing, our scientists can publish free and uncapped publication of open access research articles meaning how many articles come out of Woods Hole will be published. And this is what we want to see from publishers. Some publishers try and restrict the number of articles coming out of our institutions when we have an open access agreement with them, but we don't want to have any caps like that. We want people to be able to publish as much as they want to. So another nonprofit publishing house that we have an agreement with is the Microbiology Society. Both the Microbiology Society and the Company of Biologists are from the UK. And they call their agreement publish and read rather than read and publish. And you're familiar with a number of these journals. A number of them we have subscribed to over the years. From now on, you can publish your papers published in these journals will be published open access, and you won't have to pay any article processing charges. Just to give you an idea of what the publisher is looking for, once your paper has been accepted, they look and see what the domain of your email is, as long as you're the lead author of a paper and your domain is one of the Woods Hole domains, they will then contact you, or their online service will have the opportunity for you to select your domain and give you the opportunity to say that you want the MBLWHOI Library to fund your paper. So going on to another publishing program is the Scope 3 program, which is extremely successful. Not in biology, but in the high energy physics community. This program is community based, and so the particle physics community has worked with 13 journals and almost as many publishers to charge the library. We get charged our normal subscription fee, and then we pay just a couple of $100s extra. And what that couple of $100s extra a year does is it removes article processing charges, for example, in anybody who from Woods Hole who wants to publish in physical review letters published by the American Physical Society. And then the last publisher I'm looking at is Annual Reviews. I think everybody is familiar with Annual Reviews. They have what's called their Subscribe to Open program. And in this program, as long as all the institutions which subscribe to the journals that Annual Reviews publishes continue subscribing to these journals, all of their journals will be open access to read, and anybody from our institution who wishes to publish in their journals will have the opportunity to do so. And in the last 5 years or so, 146 papers coming out of Woods Hole were published in Annual Reviews. So to kind of begin to close up here, here's just a look at open access publishing in recent years, just looking at Elsevier, which we subscribe to probably about 30 journals from Elsevier. In 2021, they published over 119,000 open access articles, which was significantly more than the previous year, and those figures keep going up for all publishers. Something to think about. This quote is from Max Planck Digital Library white paper on open access, highlighting the output in pure open access journals, which has been growing steadily by 1% of total publications year on year. The current level is about 13% of total research papers, a surge that, interestingly, continues regardless of the presence or absence of any policy and support structure at a given institution, which I think is an interesting point. We work on open access in the library, and each institution does different things, but no matter what we do, this is something that is moving along. So just to close out, listed here are examples of 7 titles, which in 2023 went from being subscription titles to open access titles. Therefore, the library no longer has to pay any fees to have these journals freely accessible to you, and you can go to their websites and access their journals without going through the library anymore. However, we don't have open access agreements with the publishers who publish these journals. Over the years, we will have more OA agreements. That's something that each year now we look into for different publishers, but that's just something to think about. As I say, we'll continue to keep you informed of new open access agreements the library negotiates on behalf of the Woods Hole scientific community. So thank you very much. And now I'd like to turn the talk over to Sam Porter.
Thanks, Matt. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Porter. I'm the Scholarly Communications Librarian here at the library. And I'm going to talk to you today about measuring research impact with Altmetric and Elements. I could really spend an entire session talking about why and how we track research output and impact, but since I only have 10 minutes today, I'm just going to highlight a couple of tools available to you through the MBLWHOI Library that can help you do that. So, the bad news is that there's no one tool or resource that solves all of our needs for identifying, measuring, and tracking research output. So I like to think of the various resources as different tools in my scholarly communications toolbox, if you will. They help get the larger job done, but complete slightly different tasks. So just like a hammer, wrench, or screwdriver can only get part of your project done or built on their own, together they can help you build the whole thing. So the 2 tools we're going to talk about today are Symplectic Elements and Altmetric. So we'll start with Elements. What exactly is it? In simple terms, it's a research management system. We currently use Elements to track and report on departmental and organizational research outputs for the organizations across the Woods Hole scientific community. Elements automates much of the tracking and reporting that used to be done manually by connecting with databases and other info sources. Sorry about that background noise. And other info sources like Web of Science, WOS, Dimensions, Crossref, so it's bringing in citations from those sources, as well as persistent author IDs like your ORCID ID and PubMed, etc. And then it takes those and collects those publications in one place. And it tracks more than 20 different types of research outputs, including articles, monographs, data sets, conference proceedings, preprints, etc., as well as your professional activities and grants. So what can Elements do for you? Elements can help you collect your research output, publication info, and grants in one place at the individual, departmental, or organizational level. You can use Elements to showcase your scholarly achievements. However, right now, all profiles are set to private and not being shared publicly. So don't worry about that. We're not collecting information about you and sharing it without your knowledge. And Elements does have an API that can feed that publication information onto your website. So we're currently working on a project at MBL to get that happening. So if you're interested at your organization, please let me know. You can also use the built-in reporting features available in Elements to capture and share information about your work that can help you with grant proposals, reviews, etc. And Elements can also help you analyze and identify opportunities for collaboration with colleagues here in Woods Hole. Can help you look at past collaboration efforts, both internally and externally, and help you build a robust profile that can help other researchers find you based on your research interests and experience. So your Elements profile, just really quickly, again, they're all set to private, so no worries about that. And you can do things like analyze your collaboration efforts as highlighted here, use your profile to showcase your expertise, but also really impressively quickly produce up-to-date CVs, bio sketches with the click of a button. So that is really handy. That is my quick and dirty overview of elements, and now we're going to move right on to Altmetric. So many of you probably are already familiar with Altmetric or maybe heard of them, but just for good measure, what are they? So Altmetrics are complementary to your traditional citation metrics. Instead of tracking citation counts, it tracks where your work gets noticed in outlets like policy documents, Wikipedia, social media, news, and more. And they're just an alternative way to measure the influence within academia and outside. The Altmetric donut, we've probably all seen somewhere before. But what does it mean? What is the colors and everything are nice, but what is it showing us? So each work, your article, publication, etc., is given this donut badge. The colors of the donut represent different sources of attention, and the amount each color in the donut will reflect the type and the volume of attention your work has received. So every badge will look a little bit different. The score is the number in the middle of the donut, and the higher the score, the more impact your publication has had. Although, of course, these scores are all relative, so don't feel self-conscious about not having a score of 1100 or 11,000. It really varies from field to field. The three factors that influence your score are the volume of attention, the source weight, and that means, you know, things like news mentions get weighted more heavily in your score than tweets, for instance, and the author of that source. So a mention coming from your publisher versus an expert in the field, the expert is going to get more weight in that score. We also have access to Altmetric Explorer. So I won't have time to do a demo today, but as members of WHOI, MBL, WHOI, SEA, and USGS, you have access to this Altmetrics interactive database where you can explore your publications and their attention they're receiving in more depth. So if you want to see who's tweeting about your work, what policy documents specifically you're being cited in, and so forth, Altmetric Explorer can help you get that information. How do we access these wonderful tools? Great question. So you can access elements by using the link on our site here, or the direct link below. Altmetric Explorer is available at this link, or you can contact me directly at supporter@mbl.edu. And I will be sharing these slides, so don't stress about having to sketch these links down right away. I'll send those out after the presentation, so you'll have all this information. Again, if you have any questions after today, please feel free to get in touch. And now I will pass the baton on to my colleague, Kirill. Okay. So just stop sharing for a second so Kirill can share his screen with you all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kirill Batuk, and I'm a systems librarian here at the MBLWHOI Library. And I want to talk with everyone about how to search our catalog, how to discover the resources, what is available for you from us. So our catalog is a single box search for pretty much all of the library resources that are available to you. You can find books, you can find physical and electronic journals and articles. Open access repository is connected to it, as well as our archival software, so you can discover what is in our archival collection. In addition to that, there's an option to search the resources outside our library, where you can find books and journal articles and place requests for them to be delivered to you through the Interlibrary loan. So I will start with searching for the article, then we'll search for the book, and then I'll show you how to find something that is not available and where there's a button to place a request. So we'll begin the search. We'll search for ocean warming. And you will be given a vast variety of different resources available. Definitely utilize the facets on the right side of the screen where you can sort by different resource type. We will begin with journal articles. So we'll select articles and we'll go with the first one here. So once you click on it, it will give you the whole record view of it, where you will see vast amount of information. At the very bottom of it, you can find Altmetrics that Sam just talked about. for this journal, as well as rather for this article, as well as the citation button citing this. If you press on that, you will find, it will bring you to the list of resources that are citing this particular article, which is great in your research if you want to dig deeper. Further, from here, you can create a citation just by clicking this button. It will create a citation for you in whichever format you're using. You can generate a permalink for it and email it to yourself, as well as you can export it to BibTeX or print the record. To access the article, you can go directly to PDF by clicking the download PDF or libkey link. If you press this, the new tab will open up and the PDF will be right there. Or you can go to the publisher's website by pressing on available online. Right here, there's two options available from where you can access it. So if you press it, again, another tab will open up and you will be on the publisher's website. Now we will try to find a book. So here, we'll try to find a book in Python. And again, we'll utilize the facets and we'll sort it by books. So for example, we're interested in this book right here. If we click it, again, the record will be presented to us. And if you would like to have this book delivered to your office, you can submit the request to be put into office mail and sent to your office, or you can pick it up in one of our locations. And to do this, you have to sign in into the catalog. You do it by clicking the sign in button, and you select where you're coming from. I'm coming from WHOI, so we'll use the WHOI login. I've been already logged in, so I wasn't presented with the screen to log in. But if you don't have the current session going, it will ask you, to type your username and password in. And from here, I can click on request button and request this book to be sent to one of the locations. So I can do either the WHOI library on Quincy campus, the MBL library, which is in the Lilly building, or I can send it. Work address would be your office location. And once you pick where you want it to be sent, you simply just click send request. And that's it. It was successfully placed. So one of us will retrieve the book and we'll have it ready for you. So what will happen if I'm searching for something that is not available at the library? For example, I'm interested in this article here. And if I'll do the search, neither of these two results are what I'm looking for. There's a button on the right that says search and request from partner libraries. If you press this, it will search throughout our partner BL's libraries and will allow you to place the requests for it. So for example, here's the article that I was looking for. If I click on it, I will have an option to request it through the interlibrary loan. By clicking this, since I'm already logged in, it will take me directly to the interlibrary loan page where the form will be already filled out for me, and I can click submit the request. Nancy will talk about it further in details. Sometimes it takes a little second here. Of course, the technical difficulties when you present was working perfectly fine. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you log in. In any case, I'm not going to spend time. I'll close this. You will see how this works when Nancy will be presenting next after me. And one more thing to touch up on is the service that we provide is called libkey. And with this service, you can do the same searches in Google for the articles. And if you get to the article that you are interested in and we don't subscribe to, or you don't have access to, you will have a button available to you to get to our library website and be able to submit the request for it. as well as if you're doing a search and you're not on campus and you need to be authenticated in order for you to access that resource, it will also allow you to do this. And it's a little browser add-on that's available for every browser. You can access it if you go to our website, MBLWHOI.org. And under user services, there's a libkey. By press this, and at the very end, there's a button to download it. You click it and you select whichever browser you have. I already have it. It's a little teardrop right here. And what will happen is if I'll search for the same article that we were searching before, and it's available through Nature, so we'll go here, but I don't have access. It says buy a subscribe, but there's a button that will appear right in the left bottom corner. And if I'll press it, it will take me back to our catalog where I will be presented with the request to interlibrary loan button again. Maybe it will work this time. One can hope. Well, I guess not. There will be another presentation on libkey that will go more in detail about it at 1:30, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, at 1:30. So, but this is, I think, everything I have for you. So we'll pass it on to Nancy to talk about interlibrary loan.
Thanks a lot, Kirill. And I want to thank you for joining us today to learn more about our library services. One that I'm excited to share is our interlibrary loan service. And while the MBLWHOI Library's collection is world-renowned, there are times when we don't have what we need in our collection. So once you've determined that, then we provide a free interlibrary loan service to authorized members of the Woods Hole community. Thanks to our partnership with the Boston Library Consortium and other institutions, turnaround time isn't like it used to be. So for widely held items, articles can show up same day and books within a couple of days. Items not widely held can take a bit longer, but libraries rank turnaround time as a high priority. If you don't have a personal profile set up yet in our ILL system, or after you do have one and you have a known citation, access to ILL is from the library's homepage under user services. For some reason, this is not advancing.
Next.
Next one. Thank you. This is just a close-up of where to start. Under user services, you'll find a drop-down menu. And so from there, either select request article PDF or request book interlibrary loan. From there, you'll be taken to a page that's for remote access and for ILL authentication. Selecting one of these two options, MBL or WHOI, will take you to a sign-on page. And note that USGS, Woodwell, and C Education authenticate using the MBL login link. Just sign on, and then first-time users will then be taken to a form where you can fill out your personal profile. Fields with the red asterisk are required fields. And also please include any office number or mail stop if you will be using inter-office mail for book delivery. And then be sure to select the Submit Information button at the bottom of the screen. This is just a cropped image of the ILL screen, just to point out actions you can take on the left side of the screen after you've filled out your profile. You can update your profile later if necessary, request materials, and view just a variety of things. For materials that you've requested to come in electronically, you'll get an email with a link to the PDF embedded in the message, but you can also log in to see the article from here. Articles stay on the server for 30 days, but if you think you'll need it longer, just download and save to your own computer. This is just an example of what an article request form looks like. Again, the red asterisk marked fields are required. Please provide as much information as possible to expedite processing. And with this form, there is some scrolling involved to complete it, so be sure to scroll down to complete and then hit the submit request. If you're searching databases using one of our 3 most used or any of the others we're subscribed to, you may find and select an article like the one here. The top portion of the screen is just a search result from a database. Many articles in the databases are linked to our collection or other available content, but you may come across an entry like the bottom screenshot that takes you to our holdings in our collection, where you'll be prompted to request through ILL. And here's a tip. If you're logged into ILL prior to searching our databases, as Carol was alluding to, selecting requests through the Interlibrary loan link will save you having to input the citation information when filling out the form. It will just auto-populate the information. And then as for books, fill out the book request form. If you know a publication year or edition, and that's important, please include that. If you need only 1 volume of a multi-volume set, include that information if it's known. Like the article, you'll get a canned email message when the book arrives, confirming that you've requested delivery via interoffice mail, or you'll pick it up in the library office. And then if the book comes from one of our partners, there's a 16-week loan period. Other libraries set their own loan period. But if you find you need a renewal, just let us know before the due date so we can process that request. So you can receive and return books through interoffice mail if that's most convenient. And then here's contact information for ILL, so please reach out if necessary. And now for my colleague, Karen Urbeck.
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning. My name is Karen Urbeck, and I'm the institution archivist at WHOI. Our moderator, Jen Walton, is the MBL archivist, and we'd like to share with you a bit about what archives are and why they are important. Slide 1. Archivists collect, preserve, and provide access to records of enduring value. These can be the administrative records of a government or corporation, personal papers of notable people, or the personal papers of ordinary citizens going through their day. Archives are the records that are created as we go about our daily lives, and they offer insight into how things happened, how a policy was written, how an experiment was planned, how a novel was drafted and written. By showing the steps that went into the creation of something, we can better understand the final result because we understand more of the factors that influenced its creation. At WHOI and MBL, we collect the administrative papers of each institution and the personal manuscripts of affiliated scientists and engineers. Next slide, please. Often people think that archivists are managing old things, and that's true. But we also collect now so that our piece of the historic record in the future will be as complete as possible. Preservation of archives is an ongoing process where books, papers, photographs, films, and objects are placed in ideal conditions that will maximize their life cycle. Everything will degrade eventually, but our goal is to extend an item's life cycle for as long as possible. And collecting and preserving are done so that we can provide access to researchers. The depth of understanding we can gain from resources that I mentioned earlier only is possible if the resources are as widely available as possible. Today, our widest reach is often through digitization and hosting items online. And my colleague, Audrey Mickle, will conclude our lightning talks by sharing about a recent digitization project that the library completed.
Thank you, Karen. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about this project that Karen and I worked very closely on together. The library in 2021 applied for and was granted a grant from the Council on Library and Information Services. And the grant was called the Recordings at Risk Grant, which we thought was amazing because that's exactly what we had. We had many recordings that were at risk from the very earliest years of the Alvin development and science. So over the span of 2021 and 2022, we digitized over 400 historic films that primarily were in the 60s and 70s all the way up to 81. They were of varying formats, some of which were extremely esoteric and some of which were fairly degraded. And we have placed all of those in the WHOIS repository now. They are available upon request. The metadata is available, and we are able to offer these videos to researchers and historical and science researchers who are in need of these videos. We were able to put together an important collection of archival and data. So a lot of it has to do with the development and building and testing of Alvin and Alvin systems, cameras, all those kinds of things, as well as many of the early years of the dives that included many important discoveries, such as some of the really first important views of hydrothermal vents, as well as the finding the H-bomb, as well as many others. So as I mentioned, these recordings are deposited in WHOIS, so they are just like all the other data deposited in there. They're available via indexing, they're backed up. They're all done with a fair data view in mind. There are some other steps that we would like to take with those, but it's an amazing collection, which has already helped to enhance a lot of historical research. So we're very excited about what this collection can do in the future, as well as what it can mean for other areas of digitization within the library.
Thanks, Audrey.
You're welcome.
So we finished ahead of schedule. So if anyone has any questions, we have the next 10 minutes. We'll be happy to answer those for you. Just feel free to pop those in the chat or just go ahead and unmute yourselves and ask away. Thanks, Scott, for that. And Krista, great. Anything we didn't talk about that anyone wants to know? All right, fantastic. Well, if anyone thinks of anything after the session today, please feel free to contact us. Library@mbl.edu. That'll go to the entire staff. This recording, did start it a little late, but the recording will be available to you all. Well, since we didn't get the subtitles going, I'll have the transcript for the session to go with the slides as well. And we'll send that out to anyone interested. Thanks very much for attending, and we hope to see you at the live open house in the Lilly building from 11:30 to 1 today, 1:30, and then our LibKey demo later this afternoon. Have a great day, everybody.